What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another weekly episode of Expectations and Predictions presented by V2 Sports. And this week we will be covering the Vanderbilt Commodores. Many people in the SEC are sleeping on this team. Some people say that Vandy could have a breakout year. I don't know. Anybody got any other ideas on what Vandy could do?
I don't think that people are sleeping on Vandy. Vandy is about as mediocre of an SEC team as you can get, and it's all respectfulness to the program itself. They're still in the rebuilding phase.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how that plays out because they've been in a rebuilding phase for a little bit now. I'm curious to see if they can take that step forward maybe this year or next year and start progressing to being a better SEC school.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, Clark Lee has done a pretty decent job. I mean, not to like talk bad on any coaches, but Derek Mason was just not the answer. I mean, we're going from James Franklin type of level to go that low, that quick. It's just, I mean, it's not really necessarily an excuse, but I mean, definitely Derek Mason was there much longer than he should have been. So with Clark Lee flipping the entire roster, I mean, you can definitely say there's some good signs, but obviously, you got to take that next step to where you start winning some games, 'Cause, I mean, you can recruit well, but if you don't win games, you're not going to recruit well in the future. So overall, I think they've done a decent job first year. So looking forward to doing what they do this year as well.
All right, boys. So Clark Lee thinks that Vanderbilt's going to be built into a good football program within the next couple of years. And honestly, I can't blame him for being that optimistic. With a quarterback like Mike Wright, what do y'all expect? I mean, I feel like the kid's got promise. How about y'all?
I mean, when it comes to Mike, it just comes with mobility. I mean, I think his arm, according, it's just seeing videos from camp and things of that nature. I mean, you can tell he's definitely improved. He's got a little bit more meat on him, basically, if you want to put it that way. So, arm strength is really not there, but I think Mike Wright just makes Vanderbilt better with just his mobility and the way he can just scramble out of the pocket and make plays on his feet and things of that nature for you. So I think that's what makes Vanderbilt a little bit better on offense rather than just being a pure passing team, which they struggled last year when they were doing that. So Mike Wright, I think overall Mike Wright's going to be a good quarterback, but definitely not the future. But he's definitely going to be a guy that can keep the foundation for right now.
I will
Yeah,
say I
I
think he's
agree.
better than Ken Seals, and I do feel like Mike Wright is the option. But Mike Wright, I don't know how much more eligibility he has, but I know he's not one of those younger guys. He's not a freshman or a sophomore. I believe he's a junior this year. So that's going to be interesting to see how that spins off into the future. But I know Ken Seals is still there, I believe. So that's going to be a QB battle to watch. But I pretty much have Mike Wright dominating this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wright's a really good quarterback. I think he's the most underrated quarterback. I think he's like, how people thought about Connor Bazelak like last year. I think he's like the next Connor Bazelak, except I think he actually kind of lives up to it. I think he's gonna have a decent season, like a 15 touchdown, 7 interception season. And I think he's gonna take Vanderbilt to a 4-8, 5-7 record, which is improvement. And they could really upset like you saw last year. They were in it with a lot of close teams. Like Ole Miss game, they were in it almost the entire game till the fourth quarter. Missouri game, they were in it almost the entire game till the fourth quarter. If the defense can step up, South Carolina game as well. South Carolina, they were in it to the fourth quarter. They could have gone 6-6 if everything went right for them, but the defense choked. If the defense can step up, Vanderbilt can step up, and Mike Wright is the quarterback to lead them, especially
Well,
with
I think
an
the thing,
improved offensive line.
yeah, that's the thing too. I think with just being a first year head coach for Clark Lee, I think he had to understand, especially in that South Carolina game, that you just can't play prevent defense in the SEC, especially when you don't have the speed compared to everybody else, the athletes. So it makes your job a little bit more difficult than usual. And so I think that's why Mike Wright is a little bit better opportunity. And to be honest with you, yes, Mike Wright will probably be the starter, but I would not be surprised if AJ Swan took over probably after the middle part of the season as well, because from what we know, I've heard from camps and things of that nature. For apparently AJ Swan is doing really, really well. Obviously, he fixed some of the mechanics, things of that nature. But I mean, Mike Wright's definitely the dude. Much respect to Ken Sills for staying, things of that nature. So I mean, arguably, this is going to be a really good QB room, something that Vanderbilt has not had for a while. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch this season for sure.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the schedule. Of course, Vandy's got the always wonderful week 0 game against Hawaii in Hawaii. Who do y'all have coming out with the win there?
Vanderbilt 31-21. I think that's going to be a close game only because I don't I don't think Hawaii's that good. I just think Vanderbilt's going to like screw up to them in the first half, and then I think they'll separate themselves and prove they're a better, more caliber like SEC level team, not to be messed with against like teams like Hawaii. They proved their SEC level like that way. It's what I mean. Like even in games like that. That's the only reason I say that.
I'll take that. I'll actually second that, except for the score. I'm actually looking more to 31. Like you've got the winning score 31, right? But I've got it being closer than what you think. It's going to be 31-28. And no, for everybody that's been keeping track, this is not a last second field goal. This is a Hawaii throws an interception like 10 seconds left.
See, I really don't believe so. I feel like Vanderbilt's obviously the better team here, but traveling to Hawaii is always tough because it's just a big change. I mean, you hear about the different time zones with Hawaii and stuff, so you got to travel early to get used to that. And I feel like Vanderbilt's obviously the better team here. They're going to take a step up. They're the SEC school. This is a game you have to win if you're Vanderbilt. And I think Vanderbilt takes this one potentially in the 24-13 range here. Not too many points scored on either side, but I do have Vanderbilt taking this one.
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt wins this one, and the reason why I say that is just because of the chaotic offseason that Hawaii had, losing 2 coaches, half of their roster transferring and things of that nature. So Vanderbilt will be leaving. I believe they're leaving about 4 to 5 days early for the game, so that way they can get adjusted and things of that nature. But I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really. I mean, not to be rude, but I mean, Hawaii is just not in the same state as they were last year. They lost a lot of guys, a lot of coaching staff, a lot of chaos. So to be honest, I'd probably say this more as like a 30-17 type of game. I mean, that's probably a little bit closer than I would probably say, but to be honest, I think just the chaotic that Hawaii went through, I just don't see them performing week 1.
All right, so next week we've got Elon. Please do not make this segment last more than 2 minutes. Everyone knows that Vandy is winning this game. Score predictions. That's it.
48-0.
Vandy blowout.
48-3. I'll take that.
38-6.
Yeah, I got a 31-3 game here.
Y'all are putting a lot of effort into Vandy's offense here.
I'll put 31-10.
No, I just think
31-10.
Elon's like Elon's basically how like Eastern Illinois teams like that was against like Eastern Illinois against South Carolina last year. I think that'll be like that. It'll be like that type of game.
I'm going 32-0. But we'll actually go to the game that many have circled as Vanderbilt fans, the Wake Forest Deacons in Nashville. Who do y'all think comes away with that one?
Honestly, I think that's going to be a lot closer game than people expect. I think Wake Forest defense is so horrible, but their offense is so electric. They lose a really productive running back who started the last 4 years. Wake Forest does. But besides that, their wide receivers are kind of mid. Besides maybe Perry, and I think honestly Vanderbilt loses this, but it's going to be a lot closer than people think. Like I got 24. I'm gonna take that back. I got 35-42 Wake Forest.
Well,
I think Wake
that-
Forest's defense is just garbage. Not that Vanderbilt. We're forgetting Army. Like I'm pretty sure Army put like 50 up on them last year. So
They did.
yeah.
The issue that lies, though, is do you feel like Vanderbilt's offense is powerful enough to even put up points on a terrible Wake Forest defense?
Yes, Vanderbilt's offensive line might be undersized, but it's nothing compared to how bad like Wake Forest defense is. Wake Forest defense was arguably the worst defense. I think it was the worst rush defense in college football. I think Vanderbilt's going to have a running game on this. Mike Wright's going to have a career rushing attack.
See, I'd have to disagree with that take. I think that Wake Forest is going to blow out Vanderbilt personally, but anything is in the realm of possibility. but I'd say that Vanderbilt's going to lose Wake Forest 42-14.
I've got 38-32 in Wake Forest's favor.
Huh.
Vandy
So
will definitely put up a fight 100% because, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I am also one of the people that is sleeping or not sleeping. I'm one of those people that is a firm believer that Vandy is going to be a step up from what they were last year. And when I mean a step up, I'm not talking baby steps. I am talking a massive step.
I agree. Offensively, I think they improve a lot. I think Clark Lee's actually getting the guys like that Vanderbilt needs. Like he's not going for. You could tell he's not going for undersized guys like the previous coaching staff have done. They've gone from undersized guys with potential to grow. He's going for instant starters now, which is a really key in Vanderbilt, and I think that's going to be really good for them.
I will say that it really will come down to, can Vanderbilt stop Sam Hartman in this offense? I truly believe that Sam Hartman's a sleeper for the Heisman. I don't feel like Vanderbilt has enough on the defense to be able to get it done. Maybe it's closer, maybe it's not. I do have this going in Wake Forest's favor, but to touch back up on the running game that we were talking about for Vanderbilt, I'm interested to see multiple running backs to get a whole bunch of carries. I know Rocco Griffin did some work towards the end of the season. I believe that was who it was. And I truly think that Wake Forest gets this one done, though. Either way, I got Wake Forest by a margin of 21 to 28 points here.
It's like I'm a little bit I'm in the middle there. The reason why I say that is because I agree. I think Sam Hartman's really one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country, especially in the SEC.
Yeah.
I think it's just gonna be one of those games like last year. Vanderbilt hangs in there for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter comes around, they just can't keep up anymore. That's kind of where I lean at. The really good thing for Vanderbilt is that Ramon Davis is back. He was actually on pace for 1,000 yards rushing last season against with the terrible O-line. So I'm not saying that he's going to be, the one carrying this team, but if Vanderbilt is wanting to even have a shot at winning against Wake Forest, he's going to be the guy to look to. So I'm a little bit middle. I'm going to go 35-20 Wake Forest. I just don't see Vanderbilt competing at the same speed as Wake Forest for 4 quarters. So I think in the end, Wake Forest is just going to pull away.
Yeah, I think I just think Vanderbilt's secondary is really underrated. They're gonna get I think maybe an interception, maybe 2 on Hartman. I think the secondary is really good for Vanderbilt, but I think the defensive line is too undersized for them to actually do work.
All right,
Yeah,
so
and that's the thing too, is like their secondary, it is a step up from last year. It's just the speed, it's just not there. And Wake Forest has got tons of speed. So that's always going to be the disadvantage for Vanderbilt to compete in games.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and go on to week 4 in DeKalb, Illinois versus NIU. I don't really think everybody needs to give a reason on this one, strictly as it is NIU. They are a decent program. They're about at the same level as Vandy is. In my personal opinion, I actually have Vandy winning this game and in an actual low-scoring affair at 17-10.
I don't see it being low scoring. NIU has an electric offense. If you watch them, I get bored. I get super bored, so I watch NIU sometimes. They have a really electric offense. It'll be their defense is really bad though. You could tell in a really lot of their games it's a shootout. I'm pretty sure. I can check to make sure, but NIU has a really solid offense, and I think they have a really decent offensive coordinator. So I'm gonna say the game. I'm gonna put it 27-17 in Vanderbilt's favor. I really have Vanderbilt scoring 20 plus points in the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'm a little bit with Jason there. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, kind of like Colorado State last year. So I think Vanderbilt wins on a last second field goal, and I think it'd be 24-21 Vanderbilt.
I'd agree with Hunter here. I feel like they're both similar teams. I think NIU has a decent team and they have a great quarterback. So I feel like they're going to keep the game close, but I think Vanderbilt ultimately comes away with the win.
See, I really don't think it's going to be that close. I think Vanderbilt takes this one 28-10.
See, the thing is with NIU though is that's actually, not saying they're a great team, but they did really well last year. I know they're only in the MAC conference, but I think a lot of people just sleeping on NIU. They got a good quarterback, good offense, good coach, a lot of really good fundamental stuff. So I mean, I think it's just gonna be like one of those Colorado State games. I mean, Vanderbilt probably should win it, but I think NIU just gonna be tough to stick around. So I think it's gonna be a close one though for sure.
All right. And every Vanderbilt fan's least favorite week of this schedule in Tuscaloosa versus Alabama.
Upset season. I'm joking.
What?
The 57 to 14.
Well,
Yeah,
as Jackson has stated in several episodes, or at least one specific Alabama episode, that Nick Saban is going to
will
be
be
pissed.
pissed.
So I would say that Alabama's going to win probably 60-0.
63-10, baby.
I got
Yeah, I got
57 to
56-0.
14. 57 to
Vanderbilt
14.
scores first, guaranteed.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt will
actually
get
agree
lucky
with
to
that.
get a field
Actually
goal.
agree with
They're going to
that.
win the coin toss and they're going to march down the field, guaranteed.
I agree with that. And then they screw up like every
Yep.
drive until
That's the last time they
matchups.
score.
Yep.
First
Yep.
drive.
No,
First drive field goal, and that's ball game.
I
Yes,
think they
sir.
scored the first drive and the last drive and 14.
If I was Vandy to assert dominance, if I go down there and kick a field goal, I would personally have the entire team rush the field.
Yes.
I
you have
think
the
Jahmyr
onside
Gibbs
kick.
dominates. I do have Jahmyr Gibbs dominating this one easily. I don't trust Vanderbilt's defense. Not much to say. I got Alabama taking this one by a lot.
All right, but here comes our favorite part of the show. It is the bye week. Now, this week is not actually as fun with this school because it's Vandy, the Ivy
Over
League of
under
the South.
one.
I'm taking under one players getting arrested.
I got under one.
Yeah,
Nobody's
easily
impressed.
under. Easily under.
Vandy runs too tight of a ship to let their players go out and do anything stupid. So we'll go ahead and
do.
go. We'll go ahead and go on to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is winning this one like
It's not gonna
42
be-
to 10.
Dude, stop it. It was a close game. If you think Vandy's taking a step up, dude, Ole Miss just lost one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
And Jackson Dart nor Luke are going to be able to step up into that role.
Yeah, no chance.
They've gained a lot, though, on that offense.
Yeah, I know.
But here's my only thing for anybody.
35 to 20. I'm going to say 35 to 27, Ole Miss.
That's way too close.
That is crazy.
Ole Miss defense is horrible.
So is Vanderbilt.
Dude, Vanderbilt's defense led didn't they lead the league? Didn't they lead? My bad. Lead in interceptions.
Lead the league? No, I think
Lead
they
the
led the
SEC in
league in
interceptions.
Yeah,
points
they were
given
number-
up.
Here's the
Yeah.
They were
difference,
number
though.
one. They were number one in the SEC for interceptions, and then top 5 in the country.
Yeah, exactly. I think Vanderbilt's defense is a step ahead of Ole Miss. Ole Miss's defense is the worst in the SEC easily, in my opinion. Well, yeah,
I wouldn't say worse. That's a really strong word. I
Dude,
think
you
Ole
watch
Miss
Missouri,
no,
it's
it
really
is the
underrated.
worst. You need to see
Have
Ole
you
Miss's
watched
defense.
Missouri?
It is so.
I mean, did you
garbage.
not see the Alabama game though, man? Ole Miss did a decent job.
Yeah, but have you seen
Defense.
every other game in the past 2 years, dude?
Well, you can't.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we're
here's
talking about-
the
we're talking about from
difference.
last year to this year. We're not talking about from 2 years ago.
No, I'm just saying. I'm
But
saying
then
this
you go
year.
and look
This
to
year they don't
offense.
improve. This year
You
they
go and
don't
look to
improve
offense, and
much.
Ole Miss has an overall better offense than Vanderbilt. It's
Yes,
nothing
no
against
doubt, no
Vanderbilt,
doubt,
but we
no
know
doubt.
that. So that is what will overpower Ole Miss over Vanderbilt,
Yeah, definitely.
and it's going to be 37-20.
All right. Everybody
All right,
got their
so-
score prediction in on that one?
I'm gonna say something
Yeah.
crazy.
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say
I
something
got
crazy.
30. I got 35-10.
Go ahead.
Ole
Hunter.
Miss here.
All right, I'm gonna say something crazy. So Vanderbilt strongest group on their entire team is the linebackers. That's the strongest group. If their linebackers perform and they stop Ole Miss's running game, they will have a chance. Not saying they're gonna win, but they'll have a chance. So that's gonna be the key of the game because I think Jackson Dart is a really good quarterback. Hasn't played in the SEC. Vanderbilt's defense and secondary has gotten better, obviously. So I'm not saying it's gonna be winnable, but I think it'll be close. I probably go 35-21.
He's wanting to ring that bell, Jason. He's wanting to ring it.
Ooh.
I'm very close to picking an upset, but I'm very, very close. But I have to stick with Ole Miss.
Hotty toddy.
I'm actually pretty close to picking the upset too, but I'm not gonna pick it.
I've got my upset in store for one of these
Same,
games down
same.
here.
I have a really good upset pick for.
All right, so next week it's in Athens, which location with Vanderbilt, as much as I hate to say it, does not matter because it always seems like Vandy's playing an away game. So It is in Athens versus the reigning national champions in Georgia. I don't even want to hear anybody's rhyme or reason behind this one. Same way with Alabama. Just give me your score.
42-10, Georgia.
56 nothing.
45 to 17. 45-17. Well, no, 14. I'm being so generous.
That
14.
56-10 sounds pretty realistic.
45 to
Be honest.
14.
I have 63 to nothing.
I think Vanderbilt
right.
scores nothing twice against Bama and Georgia. I don't see it happening twice.
All right, so we're going to go to the next week, and I would bring out the bell, but you technically can't call it an upset when the team is practically not good. So
Is it-
Vanderbilt's beating Missouri.
I agree. That's my
I
upset bell.
third
That's
that.
my
I'm not
upset
even
bell.
picking that as an
I-
upset. That's
I-
just
It's
I
not
think-
even
common sense.
technically
I
an upset.
I think Vanderbilt wins by 10 because Missouri has no quarterback. Like Missouri has the
I'm
worst
doing
quarterback
Vandy by
situation.
10 to 13.
Yep.
I think
I agree.
Missouri is the worst team in the SEC, and I think it's I don't think it's I think I love Drinkwitz, but dude, that they only got Luther. They lose
Yeah,
their
and
best
Luther
running back.
Burden as a freshman wide receiver is not going to carry that team
Okay.
to 6 wins
Their,
at
their
all.
defense does improve. They get that Florida linebacker that led the entire team in tackles. But I mean, like their defense might improve, but their offense takes an entire step back, and their offense is the only reason they even won games last year. Like you lose Baslak, they lose Beatty. The only thing they have is Luther Burden. They have nobody else, which is why I got Vanderbilt 28 to 14.
Yeah, their running back torched us last year. I'm not gonna lie. I think he had like almost 230 yards rushing.
Beatty
So
was a top 3 running back in the SEC last year.
yeah, he definitely torched. I mean, I think it's gonna be close though. I think Vanderbilt wins 27-21. But I mean, just because it's Missouri and they're terrible, but I mean it's Vanderbilt too, man. Vanderbilt should win games and they lose them, and they lose games that they sometimes win. I think it's just Vanderbilt's just not consistent, but I think Vanderbilt wins close.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree. I got Missouri taking this one in a close game. And it's not even really about Luther. Obviously, if you're smart, you're gonna double the best player on the field, right? But I mean, just in general, I really think people are what's the word? Overlooking this Missouri team
I was about to
potentially
say,
here.
if you were telling us that we're sleeping on Missouri, I will tell you it's the
No,
best sleep
no,
I've ever had in my life.
Nope, not sleeping on Missouri, but I truly think Missouri's just better. Sure, their quarterback isn't Mike Wright, but I mean, don't they have a senior running back and a decent like little starting group for wide receiver? I mean, that's all you need to beat Vandy, to be honest.
And
I
you
mean,
need a
I mean, you can
defense.
put that the same thing about Vanderbilt's defense too, because Mike Wright returning, Ramon Davis coming back from injury, Patrick Smith, Rocco Griffin coming back as well. Will Shepard absolutely killed it. You know, Jaden McWagon, like a mini Tyreek Hill, not saying he is, but he's got some speed. I mean, you can say the same thing about Vanderbilt. I think those two offenses are extremely similar. And so I think that's why I think it's just gonna be a close game, man. I mean,
All right.
you know, they're just two bad teams going at it.
I think
Wait,
I
wait.
I
Here's
think
my
the
whole-
offense
Go
like
ahead.
favors. Sorry.
You're
I
good.
think the offense favors Vanderbilt a lot. Only not because of just quarterback. You have to have a quarterback to succeed, and they have more of a proven quarterback than Missouri has right now. Plus, I think the wide receivers for Vanderbilt are much more experienced. They are. It's a good little group. It's one of the most underrated, most overlooked wide receiver cores in the SEC, and their tight end's not horrible, and he has potential. But let me tell you something. Their offensive line is just garbage.
All right, boys. Well, we're going to go ahead and try to speed run these next couple of weeks because I just got the go ahead that our time is running out. So we've got South Carolina versus Vandy. I'm going to be honest with y'all, as much as y'all have heard me completely hate on South Carolina for some odd reason. If South Carolina finds a way to lose this game, I'm not saying I wouldn't be surprised, but with the team they have this year, if they lose to Vanderbilt, there's no excuse. So I've got South Carolina 38 to 10, strictly because South Carolina will be more, I guess, forced and stressed to kind of run the ball out after they get a good lead. They want to get out of there. There's no need in trying to get starters or even backups injured against a team such as Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
Agree.
I got 30. I got 32 to 14.
I have 41-17 South Carolina.
I got 32-14 South Carolina.
All
I'll
right.
second what Jaron said. I think South Carolina is just a way better team.
I think
Right.
South Carolina is infinitely better. I just like Vanderbilt's offense, and I think they're gonna give them a threat in like the first quarter and then get like absolutely pummeled.
All right. So we
Yeah, I
have,
think like 34-14 South
right.
Carolina.
we've got the next week at Kentucky. I've got Kentucky 42-28.
And I don't see that happening.
I feel Kentucky gets the win, but I feel like this is going to be a closer game than what people would expect it to be.
Okay, we're forgetting Kentucky and Vanderbilt low-key have really close games. Like the past 2 years, and Kentucky gets worse. Kentucky gets a little bit worse. So I'm gonna say screw it. 28-21 Kentucky.
Yeah, it's less than 10-point game. Kentucky wins, though.
All right. Scores from everybody else before we go to the next week.
24-13. I got Kentucky. As much as I want to say Vanderbilt gets this one done, I think I got to go with Kentucky. It's just a safe pick here.
All
Kentucky
right.
is
I got
a safe
34.
pick.
Like I got 34-20 Kentucky.
Carrie. No opinion from
The
Carrie on that one?
Wildcats, man. I don't know how much they're going to score by or win by. It's just the Wildcats, man.
All right, so we've got the next week versus the Florida Gators, and
Go Gators.
it's my upset pick of the week.
Oh,
Vandy's winning
my
this game.
goodness. You are out of your mind to think that Vandy's beating Florida.
Vandy's winning this game.
I think it'll be a
Yeah.
closer game than people Wait,
Oh.
where's it at? Where's it at?
It's in Nashville.
Oh,
in
give me
that-
the reasoning with your
Uh-huh.
time constraint.
Okay.
Give me the reasoning.
Reason I'm gonna speed run it real quick. It's the end of the year. This is going to be Florida's trap game, and Vandy will take full.
It's no
Just-
trap game. It's Vandy.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I love AR. I love everything that Florida's got building.
You
down there.
talk about how he's underrated, but yet you are saying that Vanderbilt is going to beat him?
It's not gonna be a him thing. This is how I'm looking at it. AR is gonna go down like first quarter. I'm not wishing it on anybody, but it's that kind of week where I feel like that's when it'll happen. AR will go down with an injury that will put him out for the rest of the game, and Vandy will just capitalize off of it. Because as much as I believe Napier can handle everything down in Gainesville with getting the quarterback set up, I feel like they're going to spend too much time on AR and not as much on second team, and the scheme built around AR will crumble for that week. And that's my only reason. Now, if I didn't feel that AR would get injured that week, it would be Florida by like 2 scores. But that's just my upset pick. And it's going to be 28-21 with Mike Wright having a hell of a game.
I fully disagree
You're
with
crazy,
you.
bro.
I fully disagree with you. I think that it can be a more interesting game than what people would say, just because for some reason Florida and Vandy turns out to be close games at times. It can either be a close game or it can be a blowout. Florida, no matter what, though, is going to come out on top. It's just that easy.
I don't think Florida's defense is good. I think Vanderbilt's offense is going to be underrated. I think Florida wins this game 35-24.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm go ahead.
Florida's got athletes, people. Like, I mean, just because they lost Dan Mullen, they still have athletes, and they're better than Vanderbilt's entire roster. So I'll probably take Florida 34-20.
Yeah, I got a 38-21 game here. I got Florida taking it. Now, if something freakish was to happen to Anthony Richardson, I think it'd be a closer game. They're going to have to rely a whole lot on Anthony Richardson this season, and he's yet to be proven amazing like people say he is. But I think because he can do a backflip. I guess that means he's an athlete, according to a few people. Shout out Swamp Time. But I truly think Florida gets this one done easily.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move on because everybody heard my ridiculous take for Florida, and we want to move right on past that. It's Tennessee week, in-state rivalry, Tennessee by 30.
You know what? Screw it. Vanderbilt and Tennessee. This is my upset pick. Okay. You think it's Florida. It's going to be Tennessee. Vanderbilt's won. Vanderbilt's won 5 of the last 11, haven't they? Something like that. Yeah.
It's an even 5-5 series for the last 10 games.
Yeah. Vanderbilt and Tennessee are a really close series against each other. I think Vandy pulls off the upset hype. I think Tennessee's gonna be like, man, we're gonna dog on this team, and then we'll literally lose by like, okay, game-winning field goal in overtime. Let's go.
Ding, 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 ding.
Tennessee will win
34,
by
34 to 31. And I think
Tennessee will
finishes
10
10
to
and 2.
14.
I mean,
Tennessee will win by 10 to 14.
Wait a minute.
Like
wait,
Jackson
wait.
said, though, this is an interesting take. They are 5-5 in the last 10 years. It is interesting.
Tennessee will finish 9 and 3, but that'll be like an upset loss.
Whoa. That is not what you just said. You said that they're taking a loss to Vandy and then finishing 10 and 2.
I
Yeah,
meant to
there's
say
no-
9
that
and
won't-
3. I meant to say 9 and
There's
3.
no
I
way.
meant to say 9 and 3.
No,
I
will say
9 and 3.
this.
I meant to say 9 and 3. It's my bad.
Vanderbilt's going to stop Tennessee with what defense?
The linebacking.
What
core
is what
absolutely
defense does
disgusting.
Tennessee have?
Tennessee has a way better defense this year than they
Tennessee
did
has
last
a
year.
way better defense than Vanderbilt.
It was like 10 ranks higher. They were both outside the top 100, and Vanderbilt's defense improves
Okay,
more
are we talking about last year or this year?
about last year, and it improves more.
Exactly.
'Cause, I mean, you
Tennessee's
gotta look at it
defense
this
has
way,
gotten
too.
significantly better. They've only
Tennessee's
lost what,
defense-
2 people?
Dude, Tennessee's defense is going to
Vandy's
be
linebacking
horrible.
core
Look,
is,
look,
in my
look,
opinion,
look.
better than Tennessee's linebacking core.
I think Vanderbilt has a better secondary than Tennessee.
Dude,
I just
forget
think
the
Now
defense.
I
that's
think that as well.
crazy.
I think
All right,
Tennessee
dude.
just
Hey,
has a better.
listen to this, fellas. Okay, let's forget
defensive
about the
line.
defense. If Vanderbilt wants to compete against Tennessee, they have to put up points.
And
Vanderbilt
they
is not
can't.
good at putting up points. Tennessee is going to blow the freaking crap out of
no.
Vanderbilt. And here's the reason why: because I think Tennessee will be in the run to go to the SEC championship game this year, and so this game is going to be a must-win for Tennessee. And I think Tennessee's going to beat this team by 30.
I got
I
I would
think
agree
They'll
with
win by
that.
70.
I
It's
think by this
possible.
time, Georgia's already like significantly taken their place. Also, Tennessee has a history of doing pretty bad
At the
like
end of
late
the
in the
year.
season. Yeah.
Butch
All right,
Jones.
boys. Well,
so it's-
here's
it's a
the
really
thing.
good
40,
here's the thing.
45-10 Tennessee,
All
easily.
right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on so that we can cover a little bit more before the call ends. And, the last game of the season is going to be Tennessee for Vandy. They're not going to go to the SEC championship game. I hate that we had to rush those last 6 games because of a time constraint. I'm really sorry for everybody out there. But y'all know the famous sign off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night from the V2 crew.